Reedham always thought ghost stories were straight-up nonsense. Every village had one creepy house. People exaggerated about just to scare kids and tourists, and this place near the forests of North Bengal was no different. The locals called it the Silent House, which honestly sounded dramatic as hell to him. According to the villagers, no family had ever managed to stay there for long. Some left overnight without explanation. Some supposedly went crazy. A few people claimed they heard knocking from the upstairs windows late at night, even though the second floor had been abandoned for years. But to Reedham, it all sounded like old-school superstition, mixed with boredom. His cousin Arco loved the idea immediately. The two of them had recently started a small YouTube channel where they posted haunted exploration videos, prank clips, and urban legend content. They barely got any views, but Arco kept saying they just needed one crazy video to blow up. The second he heard about the Silent House, he looked at Reedham with this stupid grin and said, "Bro, this is it. Easy viral content. People eat this creepy stuff up." And honestly, Reedham agreed. A creepy abandoned house in the middle of nowhere sounded perfect for a summer video. The villagers reacted strangely when they found out the boys planned to stay there overnight. Some tried to laugh it off, but others looked genuinely uncomfortable. An old tea seller sitting near the roadside stall stared at them silently while pouring tea into tiny clay cups. His hands were shaking slightly. Right before the boys left, he leaned closer and spoke in a low voice that immediately killed the mood. "If someone knocks on the upstairs window after midnight," he whispered, "don't look outside." Arco burst out laughing. "Yo, that's straight out of a horror movie." But the old man didn't laugh back. Instead, he quietly added, "Because it won't be outside looking in." That line stayed stuck in Reedham's head longer than he wanted to admit. The house stood near the edge of the forest, separated from the rest of the village by a dirt road and overgrown trees that blocked most of the moonlight. Even before entering, the place felt wrong. The building itself looked old enough to collapse at any second. The paint had peeled off years ago, exposing dark patches of wood underneath, and the upstairs windows looked like black, empty eyes staring down at them. No birds sat on the roof. No insects buzzed nearby. The entire place was dead quiet. "Dude," Arco muttered while aiming the camera upward, "this place is creepy as hell." But he was smiling when he said it. At first, everything seemed normal. Dust covered the floors so thickly that every footstep left perfect prints behind them. Broken furniture lay scattered across rooms that smelled like mold and rotting wood. They joked around while filming intros for the channel, trying to act fearless for the camera. Arco kept making fake ghost noises and laughing at his own jokes. The echo of his laughter bounced through the house strangely, lasting just a little too long each time. As the sun disappeared behind the forest, the atmosphere inside the house changed completely. The air suddenly felt colder, heavier. Reedham noticed the silence first, not normal silence either. It was the kind of silence that feels unnatural, like the world itself is holding its breath. Even the forest outside had gone quiet. No crickets, no wind, nothing. At exactly 11:40 p.m., the electricity died. The old ceiling fan above them slowed to a stop. Everything went black. "Yo," Arco whispered nervously. "That timing is kinda messed up." They switched on their phone flashlights, and the beams barely cut through the darkness. Dust floated through the air like smoke, drifting slowly across the narrow hallways. The wooden floor creaked constantly beneath them, even when neither of them moved. That was the first moment Reedham genuinely felt uneasy, not scared. Just then came the footsteps, slow, heavy, from upstairs. The sound echoed through the ceiling, directly above them. Arco forced a laugh. Probably rats or monkeys or something. But even he didn't sound convinced anymore, because those footsteps didn't sound random. They sounded deliberate, like somebody was pacing back and forth upstairs, fully aware they were being listened to. Reedham grabbed the camera tighter as they slowly climbed the staircase. Every step groaned beneath their weight. The deeper they went, the colder the air became. Halfway up, Reedham suddenly realized something that made his stomach tighten. The footsteps had stopped, like whatever was upstairs had heard them coming. Second floor contained only one room at the end of a narrow hallway. The door stood half open, moving slightly, even though there was no breeze. Arco pushed it wider with one shaking hand, while Reedham pointed the flashlight inside. The room looked abandoned for decades. An old bed frame sat in the corner beneath a shattered window. A cracked mirror leaned against the wall opposite the bed. Strange black marks covered the wallpaper around it, almost resembling handprints dragged downward by something desperate to escape. But that wasn't the worst. Hard, fresh, wet footprints covered the wooden floor. They started near the mirror and ended directly in front of where the boys stood. "Bro," Arco whispered, "tell me you see that." Ritam nodded slowly. Neither of them wanted to admit what they were thinking. Something had been standing there moments earlier. Then suddenly, the camera froze. Not low battery, not damaged. The screen simply locked in place while static flickered across it for half a second. "What the hell?" Arco muttered, while smacking the side of the camera. "Nah, dude, don't do this now." At exactly 2:13 a.m., 3 knocks echoed through the room. The sound came from the upstairs window. Both boys froze. Instantly, Ritam's heart nearly stopped when the tea seller's warning rushed back into his mind. "Don't look outside." The room suddenly felt 10 times colder. Ritam could actually see his breath, now drifting through the flashlight beam. Arco slowly turned toward the window anyway. At first, there was nothing there, just darkness outside. Then Arco frowned. "Wait," he whispered. "What the?" Ritam followed his gaze and realized Arco wasn't staring at the window. He was staring at the mirror. The reflection showed a woman standing directly behind them. Her skin looked pale gray, stretched tightly across her face like old paper. Her eyes were completely hollow, blacker than the darkness surrounding them. But the smile was the worst part. It stretched impossibly wide across her face, far beyond anything human, and she wasn't standing still. She was slowly moving closer inside the reflection, even though nothing existed behind them in real life. Arco screamed and dropped the flashlight. Darkness swallowed the room instantly. For a few seconds, all Ritam could hear was breathing. Not 2 people breathing. 3. Then came the whisper. Soft, right beside the camera. "You looked." Ritam grabbed Arco's arm and pulled him toward the stairs. Both of them sprinted downstairs in complete panic, slamming into walls and nearly falling as they rushed through the darkness. The front door came into view, and relief hit Ritam so hard he almost cried. Then he grabbed the handle. It wouldn't move. "Open the damn door!" Arco shouted hysterically. Ritam pulled harder. Nothing. Behind them, footsteps began descending the staircase slowly. But now the footsteps sounded wet, like bare feet soaked in water, dragging across wood. Then the whispering started again. Only now there were multiple voices. "She knows you now." Ritam turned just enough to glance toward the staircase. Something tall was standing there in the darkness. Too tall, its head nearly touched the ceiling, and it wasn't alone. Shapes moved behind it unnaturally, twitching along the walls like shadows, trying to crawl free. Arco suddenly began screaming. Not normal screaming, pure panic. Ritam looked over and felt his blood freeze solid. Arco was staring directly at the mirror hanging beside the front door, but the reflection no longer showed the hallway. It showed the upstairs room, and the pale woman was standing inches away from the glass, smiling wider and wider, while black liquid streamed from her hollow eyes. Then the thing inside the reflection lifted one hand, slowly toward Arco, and Arco lifted his hand too, like he was copying her. Without realizing it, "Bro, snap out of it!" Ritam screamed. The front door suddenly burst open by itself. Cold air slammed into them. Ritam grabbed Arco and dragged him outside before the thing upstairs could reach them. Neither of them stopped running until they reached the village road. The next morning, villagers found their camera upstairs near the broken mirror. The final recording file was corrupted except for the last 5 seconds. The footage showed Arco standing motionless in front of the mirror. Then something impossibly tall unfolded itself from the darkness behind him. Its limbs bent the wrong way. Its face had no eyes, only a massive smiling mouth. And just before the footage ended, the thing looked directly into the camera, as if it could see whoever watched the video next. After that night, Arco was never normal again. Sometimes he sat silently for hours, staring at reflections in windows or puddles of water. Sometimes he whispered to himself in the middle of the night. And every once in a while, he would suddenly smile for no reason at all. A smile far too wide for a human face. But according to Ritam, the worst part never stopped, because every night at exactly 2:13 a.m., 3 knocks still come from his bedroom window. Talk, talk, talk. And now he never checks the mirror afterward.